Welcome, friends. Welcome to the why, what, and whom in discussion with a friend, the author of this book, Shark to Space, an Amazon bestseller, and a wonderful person from the industry background. Let me introduce to you Selvam. Selvam Parni. And if you read his name on the book, it may sound very bizarre because this is written in French because he's from Pondicherry and that's how they write the name Selvam Parni. Congratulations on writing this wonderful book, Selvam. It was a pleasure reading it. Now tell me the why. When we get to the why did you write this book?
Good evening, Mr. Ranjit Isaac. Thank you for making this show and reading my book and giving you a nice review. The why is very powerful. Two things which has incited me is first is when I was reading a lot of books, the one word came is the die empty from the books of Andre Todd. What are we going to do? The things which we learn over a period of years and just going with us. It's not left in this world. I just take it being selfish. So from selfish to selfless is what first motivated me. And second is, I reached around 10,000 students from engineering, nursing, arts and science and management schools, wherein I went and impacted them through various mentoring and coaching programs. I understood that there is a big gap of employability, and that provoked me that I should do something on employability. And of course, this is India's one of the biggest problem that the nation is facing. We have got huge number of the labels, but they are not employee fit. So that's the primary reason for this.
Oh, 10,000 students. That's quite of a Herculean effort. That's not a small effort, Selvam, because I believe that you would have got the why by talking to the students, because it is a real problem in today in India that the engineering students who are passing out are just not employable. And when you talk to these students, what was the pain which you noticed in them?
The pain is first they say, I'm not getting my dream job. I'm not getting the compensation. I'm not in the core industry. Whereas I'm also want to aspire to become in a very shorter time. And I could be able to do a very big startups. Obviously, many people want to become an unicorn by doing a startups. These are the things which is which has pained me that and provoked me to write a book about this.
Great. Now let's go to the what. What is that which made you write this book, and what did you put into this?
This book has basically started with employability and entrepreneurial skill sets. I've read a lot of articles like India Skill Report telling that around 45% of people are not employed fit, and that if I hire people, or if any industry hire people, or any institution hire people, it takes a lot of time to train them, and they're not billable. People say he is not billable. That means he cannot able to produce an output within a short time. It takes a lot of time as well. The reason is that there is a gap between the academics and industry. It's like railway track going, you see from here it converges, but whereas the track goes wider and wider. So I started with the basic skills that any 9 to 5 person should have an employability, because you should be on a institutions or a industry. And next, once you are done with that one, and you have to go for entrepreneurial skills. So that's what which is main crux of or the reason behind putting this book.
Now tell me, what made you name this book Shark to Space? It's a very intriguing name in the sense it's a very catchy name. Anybody who looks at this name will surely take a book, pick up this book and try to wonder what are you trying to convey. How did you get this name, and what made you label this book as Shark to Space?
First is people learn from the nature. So all the nature, all this wilderness brings in a lot of learnings, and people learn from the tiger or any other animals. Similarly, shark is very curious animal and very shrewd animal as well. We can say people say, oh, he's very good in business. He's a shark, and he's a big giant. He's a shark. So that things which is catch me, and gradually I thought, what does the character a shark possess? How the leadership quality a shark possesses? And therein the name came in. That slowly I started working on it and started reading a lot of books that whether shark can do something unusual, because normally shark used to swim in the water and happily prey, but doesn't travel to the moon having dream vision of it. Similarly, people who are found to accomplish something of bigger things like going out of the space, like breaking your glass ceiling. The shark in this one, it analyzes and a fable way I explained them. It can it was growing to the space through his friends and these infrastructures by acquiring a lot of skills.
That's very nice. And you have, what made you, make this book in a kind of, in 2-3 parts you have made this book. What was the thought process behind that?
It's like, you have to first run. Before that, you have to walk. Then after that, you have to fly. So normally people say, you have to get up, walk, run and fly. You cannot straight away fly. You have to be, first of all, on the ground. So the ground is nothing but employability skills. So that's what I have put first. People who don't know that they are in this thinking stage, who are in the very swamp stage or in the mediocre stage, they need to first understand that where are they, what they have to do, and sort of an action they have to put a small momentum. When they start moving it, they can really think about whether the aircraft can fly or can go on a same level. That's the main crux about it. So flying coming into mind for me.
Okay. That's very, one more point which I wanted to bring out in this is you have been able to research so much of content. Where did, in the sense, you have researched across so many books and journals and brought out so much of research material into this book. Where did you find and what made you do this kind of research into? What was the logic behind this research for this book?
Wonderful question. I started this book writing venture, I can say, this project around 24 months before. I started and stopped. Then slowly I said, what I'm going to write? Is it I'm going to write something logical? Is that something has got a lot of stuff in it? So I have started reading a lot of books and doing the research. So people say book writing is not only writing. You have to read, and ultimately you get more of clarity. So those clarity has been put here so that it is supported with facts and figures. I have seen people talking about we trust in God, next we trust in data.
That's true. In today's data-driven world, you have to substantiate all your own beliefs and things with data, or somebody has to be referred to. That's nice. In the sense, you've got gives no doubt it gives a lot of credibility to your thought process. But what you have structured is very well. Now let me go to the whom. No doubt, you started this book with students in mind. But whom do you think can really benefit from this book?
If you really see, except the fag end of the career people, it can reach everyone, and it's not. It has got a simple, slight tinge of engineering, because I am from engineering background. If any person, if you write from your book, it will have a tinge of the army or Indian these things. So similarly, the tinge will be there from being from engineering background. But of course, from the late career people, barring them, everyone can use it. You can be students, it can be mid-career, you are in business, and you can be startups and entrepreneurs also. So it is factored for a wider range of people, but not for some category of people. I mean, it's a little bit of lesser for them, because it has to be put on different version for them.
No. My gray hair doesn't make me that I didn't enjoy this book. I surely did enjoy this book, and I did take a lot of takeaways from it. It's, in the sense, even though, age should not be a barrier for reading this book, I feel. Even though you've written it, keeping the young people in mind, I found it very interesting to learn about certain facts which you have brought about, how the shark teeth is formed and certain things. there's so much to learn, the knowledge is so vast that even if you're past 60, I'm just 60 now, doesn't mean that I know everything. There is still so much to learn. I sure did enjoy.
Yeah.
Try to.
Today I got one WhatsApp message. The message says that, hey, I got your book. Suddenly my son, who is only 7-year-old, fetched the book and he started reading.
That's because I think you've got nice diagrams inside your book. You've got very wonderful figures and pictures which you have incorporated in this book. Makes it more interesting, no doubt about it. That's why I think it is. You don't restrict your book only to it is across for all ages, can sure enjoy it, and I vouch for it. But one more thing which I wanted to bring out in the whom is that you got a lot of people to review your book, very eminent personalities who have reviewed this book so wonderfully and spoken so eloquently about the content. What made you think of this process? Why did you bring this concept?
Basically, these people, actually, they pushed me to deliver more. That's a main thing. And all these people, I met them a year back or something, and they all came out with bigger problems. They said, one of the topic I have raised in this book is one of the dean of a university told they have a big problem with the students who cannot able to cope up with pressure. Can you put one chapter for that? I did it. So similarly, when I start resonating with their thoughts and resonating with their this book is more aligned towards their problem solving solution also. That's what they have put there.
Hey, I was impressed by the reviews which were put in them. It was really nicely worded and very thoughtfully put in the sense. And then after reading it, when you read the reviews, you realize, oh my God, okay, how well you have structured the book. But I also want to ask you the next question. The whom is going to read this book, how should they read this book? Is it to be read once, in total, read in parts, or how should they address going about maximizing the utilization of this?
Well structured, you have knocked it correctly. The part A book, they have to read it one go. The part B can be chosen here and there, but the 75% of the book is part A. And of course, you should not miss the story, which is going to give you an analogical comparison. So start with the story and finish the part A. So part B can be choosy, but part B is only 25%, 20% of the books. And the end of the book has got expert insights. I have roped in industry experts, academic experts, and some research people insights. What is their view about the employability gap, entrepreneurial gap, etc. And they have also done a nice job. So that can be written, that can be read by who are interested on them, or the field of interest.
I've also seen you giving some kind of worksheets, people for, how to break up and exercises. How do you expect the students and the people reading should use these exercises?
Those, one is, it's the form of thought breaks. Second will be a worksheet. Third will be, I have put some graphs where they can draw how they want to reach in life. Normally, people who work in projects, they would have thought about, or they would have been taught about the S-curve. What is S-curve? Was the progress, their goals, and they concludes, or the project commitments are achieved. Similarly, I started putting S-curve for my life or individual as well. The S-curve means the S goes for a flag or come down. So wherein you have to improve or you have to upscale it, then your S-curve once again go back up. So that's how you can be you can be sailing, or the worst case it is sinking, or the best case you be soaring
to space. You being a project guy has used project management techniques for sure in this. I can see that. Also, in the sense, one more point which I wanted to ask you was, should these people revisit these exercises after some time to see progress, or will it be advisable from your side that, as part of the S-curve?
100%, because the life, some people will be on the initial phase of the career. Some people will be on the mid-career. Some people will be on the end of the career. So obviously, the goal setting, they have to refine it. And of course, they have to take a course correction, and they have to come and see. The book has got a version. Maybe in another 3 years, 4 years down the line, there could be some better books as well. So they have to come back and see, and they have to upgrade for a new book. This cannot
So,
be a lifelong one book.
so do we conclude saying that you're going to have part 2 of this book coming very soon? Can I say?
Yeah, the initial task is to translate to local language
Yes.
and make it to very light version. And obviously, I'll be expanding more on entrepreneurial skills.
Okay. Wonderful talking to you, Selvam. In the sense, reading this was a privilege, no doubt. And now talking to you on it and getting greater insights on the book was even more exciting and insightful. Wishing your book a trip to the space and let it become a runaway bestseller across all genres. Thank you, Selvam, for spending so much of time with me.
Thank you, Captain Ranjitji, for bringing in to me, this quiet evening and nicely explaining about my book and giving the book review in very detailed way and bringing out a lot of information from this books. And it has got more information, so the people who will buy and read can able to immerse on it. Thank you so much.
Just friends, before we close, just want to remind you this book is available on Amazon. It's also available on Kindle version, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
So, wishing Selvam once more all the best and thank you. And we sign off. Jai.